Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to a new episode of the Late Night Lake Show podcast powered by 19 Media Group. It is your host, Ricky and Alex. We are joining you guys on Friday, June the 21st, year of our Lord 2024. And it is it's good and bad news we got for everybody. The good news, the Lakers have a new head coach. The bad news is the devil won the NBA Finals. So we have to now live with Lucifer walking the earth for the next 365 days as the NBA champion Boston Celtics now move in front of the Los Angeles Lakers in all-time championships, 18-17. Jaylen Brown is now Finals MVP. However you feel about that. Shout out Jaylen Brown. No shade to there, but, stats look interesting. So, yeah, Boston Celtics are NBA champs, but the Lakers hired JJ Redick as head coach. So, life's all about balance, I guess. But we'll get into all of that. We haven't talked to you guys since Mr. What's his name? I forgot his name already. Mr. Daniel Hurley turned down the Lakers job, and him and Woj conducted a successful coup of stealing the attention and all the limelight away from Shams and the JJ Redick rumors. So we're going to get into that shit too. They're not off the hook. So if you're not already, make sure you follow the podcast wherever you get your hashtag good content. Alex, my brother, talk about just, worst case scenario for an ending of an NBA Finals. Not only did the Boston Celtics win, this shit wasn't even entertaining, bro. How many games did you watch? I caught parts of 2 games, but I'm not here to add to Celtics ratings. What'd you make of the finals?
Yeah, I didn't even watch. I saw some highlights. It was a lackluster finals. They were clearly the better team going in than Dallas. I thought Dallas had a puncher's chance if Luka did Luka things, but he did not. So now Celtics have 18 rings, one more than us. And you know what, man? The Celtics suck, whatever. They're not, we were just talking like they're a storied franchise. I'm not going to hate on them from that perspective, but when the Lakers win, the whole world celebrates. I know there are haters, people that don't like the Lakers, but like generally speaking, the Lakers are such a massive franchise that there are fans around the world. With the Celtics winning, it just feels like it's Boston and nobody else really cares. They're not getting any attention. And I do want to say this. Luka is an amazing player, but the James Harden comparisons are 100% accurate until he proves otherwise. There's no difference except he's 4 inches taller and he's white. Like they played the exact, Harden at his peak played the exact same way Luka does, and it's the same stuff. You can't win that way. So whatever. Celtics won. Whatever.
Nice. We got in a little bit of Luka combo. I like that. Yeah, I almost forgot that was the topic of conversation. The finals wrapped up probably, close to a week ago now. And we are officially in the NBA off season, which is exciting. Some trades are already happening with the local Chicago Bulls for me. We'll get into that. But this just goes back to that stupid narrative talking about how Harden was a better player at his peak than Kobe was. And I just laugh at folks, man. I laugh at folks who over-index these, what's the nice term these days? Heliocentric superstars that put up all the shots, right? And then when it's playoff time and defenses can lock in on them, they're kind of useless. And not to say Luka is useless at all. He still led his team in scoring. But when the ball's out of your hands and you're not doing much else on the court on offense, and then you go over on the defense and they got highlight reels of you just being a stoop.
Yep.
It looks a little funny in the light when folks talk about your greatness, right? Luka will be a Hall of Famer. I have no doubt about that. James Harden will be a Hall of Famer. I have no doubt about that, right? Like, shit, Benny the Bull will probably be a Hall of Famer. The NBA, basketball Hall of Fame is so inclusive. So, it's just hard for me to put these guys on pedestals when they are absentees on the defensive end, and on offense, it almost feels like Luka's not a spot-up shooter, right? Like he needs the ball in his hand, and if you already got a guy now, Kyrie, who needs the ball in his hand too, This is what you get to get. This also is the Denver Nuggets' fault for not taking care of business, because that would have been a much more entertaining NBA Finals if it was Nuggets and Celtics. So,
Hell, the Wolves would have been more entertaining. I would have loved to see the
yeah,
Wolves against the Celtics. Like shit. But Luka's too good to be like a one-sided player. He's too good not to be able to play off ball. He's too good not to at least he's 6'9", not to at least be able to do something defensively, right? Like, so yeah, he'll be a Hall of Famer, like you said. So will James. But like, there's the Hall of Fame, and then there's the back room in the Hall of Fame where like Mike and them are at, Magic, Kareem, like Kobe, Shaq. They ain't getting in that room. They not getting in that room. Not playing like this.
Nope. So, we're on to the offseason. Hopefully the Lakers have made some changes that are going to put them in a better position. I saw a stat, man. The Lakers in the last 10 seasons have been a top 6 seed once. Did I have that correct? It's something ridiculous like that, bro.
That might be right because, I mean, the year we won the championship, the number 1 seed in the West, and then the follow-up year, I think
We dropped to 7. Yeah.
Yep, AD and LeBron were hurt some of that year. Yep.
And then we were playing team since then. And before then, we were dog shit. So I think that might be right, dog. So, not to jump ahead, but we gotta at least speak on this whole Dan Hurley, Adrian Wojnarowski, whatever the fuck you want to call this. Long story short, Lakers had a fever dream of an idea to meet with Dan Hurley and pursue him all the way up to giving him a contract to the tune of $70+ million to come over and coach the Los Angeles Lakers. It would be double what he was being paid at UConn. And Dan Hurley, he took the flight, took the private jet out, him and his wife, spent some time with the Lakers, went home, and he said, you know what? I'm staying, like Leonardo DiCaprio and Wolf of Wall Street. So I'm not going. I'm not leaving. So, that was a whole bunch of time of nothing. I don't know, Alex. Everyone is in unison thinking that this was just a nice play by Woj and Dan Hurley to, get their name out there, get the name up. Woj wrote the book on Dan Hurley, literally. And, another college coach uses the Lakers name to achieve something. What's your thoughts on the Dan Hurley pursuit?
I mean, look, man, when the news came out of nowhere, Woj was like, it's going to be a massive offer. That's what the Lakers want. And the framing of it led me to believe that the Lakers would offer somewhere around $100 million, maybe 8 years, $100 million. They offered 6 at 70. That still would have made him a top 6 or 7 highest paid head coach. But what was most, startling to me, he flies out, Lakers make their offer 6 and 70. And if he wants $100 million or wants more years, there didn't seem to be any negotiation. His agent didn't counter offer, which you and I have been in corporate America for a long time. You always counter offer. I mean, even if you think they're going to say no, you lay it out there. And so, right, the fact that he didn't tells me that he never took the Lakers seriously, and he used it to probably milk UConn out of more money. There was already an extension on the table. He had not signed it. I would imagine they're going to up that, and at some point we'll get the numbers on the UConn extension. But they absolutely used the Lakers. I do think that if the Lakers offered him that $100 million or 8 years or whatever, he probably says yes because it's just too much money to say no to. And for the people who think that Genie is cheap, there's no amount. If the Lakers really wanted to give him $100 million or whatever, UConn cannot compete. I don't care who their boosters are. Colleges, no matter how big they are, and pro teams are two different animals, especially when it's a basketball college and there's no football revenue. There's no way they could have competed. If the money, but they made their offer. He went to a Billy Joel concert and he then said no. And ever since then, he and his wife have been on a press tour. I've never seen anything like it, man. They have gotten more attention in the last week than they did for the 2 championships that he won at UConn. It's insane.
100%. 100%. What's there to talk to the wife about? What's going
Hey,
on? Why
man,
do I need to know that she cried when she heard that the Lakers wanted to talk to y'all? What are you doing? What's
that
going on?
part with you 100%. Like, I think Hurley himself is doing too much. But, like, if I turn down a job, my wife doesn't have anything to say to you about me turning down a job. If she turns down a job, what I got to say about that? Nothing. Like, we're not, like, you're not, she's not on his coaching staff. Like, I don't, if they are milking this, absolutely going to get more money out of UConn. And I do think that he makes the jump at some point, but let's just call it what it is. He would prefer to be a big fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond. That's it.
East
So
Coast guy,
what?
they started floating the stuff around. If the Knicks job becomes available, he could just jump and go do that. Like Tom Thibodeau is a fucking fantastic coach.
Tom's killing
Did
it.
you see what he did? What are y'all doing? What are y'all talking about over there, man? It's good. We get it. We understand the story. We understand the logic. You might fool the 16, 17, 18-year-olds, the youngins, right? You might fool the casual folks who just think that this was the Lakers fumbling over their own selves, more incompetence by then. But I'm in the camp that them folks wasn't really trying to come over, bro. They wasn't really trying to come over. They saw the time it was taking for the Lakers to hire a head coach. They said, you know what? This deal ain't wrapped up yet. Let's go have a conversation. Let's take a private flight to Los Angeles for 24 hours, get wined and dined by the biggest franchise in basketball, and let's go home to a Billy Joel concert. Don't that sound like a great weekend, Spooty? Yeah.
Hey,
Okay,
hey, man. And listen, I saw somebody found some tweets of his, looked like appearing that he's a Celtics fan or something like that. And it's,
Yeah.
and it's, and it's
I
like,
doubt it.
You're right. Northeastern guy. Celtics are in the finals. He played the Lakers. Like whatever, man. Whatever.
Yep.
He could have taken that. He could have taken that 70 million, even if it didn't work out, collected guaranteed money, and went right back to college in another top job, or went to another pro team. Like,
that's the other thing. It's probably the final point in this. He technically had nothing. Yeah, yes, he uprooted his family, moved across the country. Now he's going to be under the microscope, this and that. How old is Dan Hurley? He's still relatively a young guy,
yeah,
right?
50,
He would be the top
like
coach at whatever school he goes back to. I understand. You planted your roots. It's hard. The wife said that anytime she looked at Jeannie Buss' face, all she saw was her babies back at UConn and all this other dumb, like whatever. Hey, I don't want to call it dumb. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. You got a connection to these young kids that come in and out. It almost gives me like the wife of a college football head coach vibes, right? You see like some of those SEC wives that they giving kisses to all the players as they come out of the locker room, or they in the White House hitting the dance moves with the team. They feel like they have a really like mother-son connection as the wife of the head coach. And again, big fish, small pond, however you want to, think about this. There's another side to it too that we ain't got to get into, but freaky ass nigga 69 God. Anyways, some folks really love the position that they're in. And yes, going to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers would make Dan Hurley one of the most famous people in sports. His wife wouldn't. There's nothing that comes with the wife. I mean, obviously, all the perks of living in Los Angeles, and it'd be an amazing life, but she wants to be important. I get it.
Hey, man.
You can look at her and tell she wants to be important.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, look, folks know I talk about race all the time on my account. I got plantation vibes, man. Like, Hurley, he can talk to college kids any way that he wants. You ain't doing that to even the lowest NBA player because they're grown men. And his wife talking about they're her babies. It reminded me of like the plantation wife, like the owner's wife, like loving the help as long as the help is actually the help. And if they're not the help, they get rid of them. Like, what are we doing here, man? Like, all of it is ridiculous. So they played the Lakers. Woj, of course, Woj has a hand in it. He always has a hand in some of this nonsense. It's just, I don't know, man. Just such a debacle. And I'm not even blaming the Lakers. I do think they should have offered more. But I get I get if they thought, well, this is what we're going to offer. It's more money than he's making. It makes him a top NBA paid coach, and he's got no NBA experience. Like I think they played it right. they probably assumed there'd be a counter. Like,
there's no counter. They said no. They
who
just
doesn't counter?
rejected. You ever set up a trade in 2K or Madden and the other team don't even count? They just say no.
Yo,
No. We just not gonna do this. All right. All good. Best of
even
luck, Dan Hurley.
even if they had offered him $100 million, I would have came back and said, "Hey, can I get 110?" And you come back, you still. But we got a new head coach, and it's not Dan Hurley.
That's right. And we're going to talk about the Lakers' new head coach right after this. We're doing live ad reads now, Alex. The good folks at Prize Picks really getting us right these days. As you guys know, Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active users. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and watch the winnings roll in. You get in on the daily fantasy action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. With the NBA Finals over, the hoops action does not stop with Prize Picks. Women's basketball is still heating up. Well, that's an understatement of a century, right? For more reasons than just basketball play. With stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make their names for themselves, along with greats like Breonna Stewart and Asia Wilson, Booski, you could win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. I just want to give shout out real quick to Angel Reese. That is 7 straight games. She has averaged a double-double. That is a WNBA record for rookies. Shout out Angel Reese, Chicago Sky. We will be in the building to watch you soon. Keep doing your thing. Download Prize Pick apps. Use the promo code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Prize Picks. All right, that was fun. All right, Late Night Lake Show, Ricky and Alex. All right, man. In triumphantly not really surprising news, JJ Redick is the Lakers head coach, signing a 4-year deal, first reported by Adrian Wojnarowski, then followed up by Shams. I do want to take this time to give Shams his flowers, his victory lap. He was pretty consistent the whole time, right? And he has been doubling down and kind of kicking dirt on Woj's grave about how it's always been JJ leading the pack because of the multiple meetings that him and Pelinka have taken, all the way going back to their meetings in Chicago at the Combine, and him finally having that formal interview with Jeannie and the front office. Here we go. The JJ Redick era has commenced. The 39-year-old will be taking over, and I think the stat is, correct me if I'm wrong, it was the 29th Lakers head coach in franchise history. Man, here we go. Alex, first thoughts when you saw the news, JJ Redick taking over from podcastee. Let me not say that because he's way more than podcast. From an NBA lifer to commentator to successful podcast host to media personality to Los Angeles Lakers head coach. What a world he has lived. Your thoughts?
Hey, man. This shit was like, when the news broke, it was like a bottle rocket instead of like fireworks. It was just, his name had been mentioned with the Lakers for so long. It was just like, all right. And, you know, other names like Borrego, like this particular coaching search, there were no like superstar coaches to go after. Hurley obviously came out of nowhere. And I like the Lakers looking at the college ranks, but there were no hotshot assistants. The Micah Nori stuff went away really quick.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't hear with anybody else.
Nope. So they think that Redick can be a good coach. Let me say this, because people say that I'm a hater. I don't care who the Lakers could hire, like Cookie Monster. I want him to do well. Like, I want the Lakers head coach to do well. What I am critical of is hiring a first-time head coach with literally no coaching experience. He played 15 years in the league. Okay, cool. He's a podcaster. Okay, cool. He's a TV analyst, argues with Stephen A. Smith from time to time. Okay, cool. But like, like he only coached his kids' AAU team. Like, listen, man, only in America can a dude have no experience at doing his job and get the highest job in a particular like company. Like, I mean, we saw this with the White House a handful of years ago, and like this is insane. Like, so can he be good? Yeah, from all accounts, he knows basketball. So the X's and O's, cool. They say he's dedicated, cool. Can he lead grown men? We don't know. Can he handle the LA spotlight? We don't know. He smiles, he's got nice hair, but like lose 3 games in a row, and we're going to see how much of that shine comes off. So they're comparing him to Pat Riley. God, that's setting him up for failure by even
Yeah, we should do
floating
that. We should
Pat's
do that.
name. Like the circumstances of Pat everything was so different.
Right.
But I hope he does well, man. They floated his coaching staff, and hopefully you want to talk about some of the names, but like it sounds like they're going to try and put together a good coaching staff.
Yeah.
But he's a rookie head coach, man. We just had a rookie head coach.
Yes, we did. Yes, we
LeBron,
did.
LeBron's a year older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like LeBron's a year older. AD is a year older. We don't know what they're going to do on the draft night. Are they going to keep the pick, trade the pick? Like, we don't know what's going to go on. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a hater, but
Maybe.
I saw this with Steve Nash. I saw this with Derek Fisher. I saw this with Jason Kidd. Like, it took Kidd years to actually become a good head coach. His go-around in Brooklyn was terrible. Like, Nash was really, really bad. Like, Fish, really bad. Like, what are we doing here? And I don't want to hear the Steve Kerr shit, because at least Steve Kerr was in the front office before he became a head coach. He at least was on an NBA team managing something. So, and Kerr's once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. So, maybe I am a hater, man. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a mixed bag. Before Jason Kidd, you had Mark Jackson for the Warriors. He was putting together a decent little foundation of the team. He brought religion into the workplace, and then I think it started to suffer a little bit. But
you know what? And quiet as it's kept, it was Mark Jackson's. Like, Steve won with Mark Jackson's team. Like, there's a lot of things that led to that. Steph Curry having that underwhelming contract because of his ankle issues, and him all of a sudden becoming one of the greatest players of all time that no one thought that was going to happen. Redick he's not inheriting a team where the superstars are on the way up. They're AD's plateauing, and LeBron's going to come down at some point. So different circumstances, but my bad, man. Go ahead.
No. Right. I mean, 1,000%. And it's funny you brought up that the Lakers just hired a rookie head coach in Darvin Ham, and he had some assistant coaching experience, but it almost felt like the Lakers hired Darvin Ham. Well, we know why the Lakers hired Darvin Ham. It was to make the rush shit work with all the superstars and all the grown-ass men. They liked that Darvin Ham was a quote-unquote leader of men. Or maybe because he was 6'7", was a big guy and had a beer belly and was bigger than a lot of people and was the same size as LeBron. I don't know. Maybe that's what they thought by leader of men. They can handle all those dynamic personalities in the locker room with Russ still there. This feels different in the sense that I don't think I don't know. Am I wrong for thinking that, as the Lakers say, they want a head coach that is going to be here to build for the future, but also help maximize the superstars of today? Am I wrong for thinking you can't do both? Like, I don't think that's possible.
Golden State tried, and it didn't work.
No bridging eras in fucking basketball. These planes go up. They burn beautifully, they come down, and you just pray that it's a soft landing, right? The greatest soft landing was that the Bulls 98 season, right? And that still was a shit show, as we saw. Like, I don't know. I think you kind of I think that's a little bit of gamesmanship to the fans and to everybody else saying, no, we're still going to compete today and also build for the future. I don't believe that to be true. I think the JJ Redick hire was eyes towards the future. Like they talk about maximizing this era of Lakers basketball, God willing, at the most has 2 years left. This season and next season. And depending on how this season goes, and let's, not to kick the obvious down the road, LeBron James, this is all in assumption that LeBron James opts out, signs a 2 or 3 year extension, and, one probably whatever that last year of that extension is probably the farewell tour. If folks are talking about we just want a head coach to outlive the initial contract, LeBron will be here after that, right? If we're sitting here and we want to do both, it don't take much. You're obviously got JJ Redick here to start planning for the Max Christies, the Jalen Hood Shafinos, the really, let's bring a young guy in to lay some new foundation, some new cement in these cracks. And let's start. No, it's not even laying it over the cracks. They just laying new foundation in a different spot. And they're trying to tell you it's supposed to help the old house. I don't think this is for the old house. This might be to appease the old house a little bit, but if you ask LeBron's folks, he ain't had shit to do with this. AD was pretty heavily involved, which I could get down with. I'm here for that because AD will be here after LeBron, God willing.
Yep.
So I know that was a long-winded answer, bro, but hopefully y'all were rocking with me there as far as I don't see this being a two-model strategy going forward. The Lakers are brought JJ Redick here so he could be the head coach of the Lakers going into 2029. And that is post LeBron James era. And I think we'll start seeing that in some of the moves that they make. But we'll see. I don't know. Do you think they'll go all in with these draft picks? Do you think they'll start making some smaller moves, maybe try to get a little younger? How do you see this playing out as far as roster construction goes?
They better go all in. They better go all in. Because we're at a point where, if you look, I do think that there are some potential prospects around the 17 mark, and there's rumor they may try to jump up. But I think there's some guys that they could draft. If they do it, it needs to be someone over the age of 21, no 18 and 19-year-olds. It needs to be a junior or a senior, preferably a big man or a wing, because the Lakers haven't drafted a big man or wing since, I don't even know since when. It's been years. So it's just they better go all in. And if you look at the Lakers' handful of recent coaches, if you're hiring Redick to lead the organization after LeBron, the truth is every coach you've hired in recent years have made it 2 years. And so if I'm looking at that trend, is Redick going to make it? If they fuck up this year and have a bad next year, is he around? Probably not. He probably is not around. So to me, spend all the money you need on the coaching staff. Listen. If you have to go get Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, and Red Auerbach out of the game, that's who should be on his coaching staff, right? Give him the best minds available. And I'm saying that, facetiously, but beyond that, also give him a team that can actually play. We have too many one-sided players, man. I know you know that. D'Lo's a one-sided guy. Austin really is a one-sided guy. So is Vando. So is Rui. All these guys are one-sided. If Vando and Rui were one player, great. But
right.
Give not only Redick, but give LeBron and AD some consistent help. Give them some bigs. Give them some rebounders. Give them a guy that can hit an open shot. Go for it. Forget about what we look like in 2030. It's really about what we look like now. So I hope they go for it. We just saw Caruso got traded for Giddey, no draft compensation, no swaps, Caruso, all league defender, and somehow he got moved for basically nothing. If there are deals out there like that, I know there's a Lakers tax, but see what DC wants to do about Kuzma. Call Portland about Jeremy Grant. Get some size on the team. man, I can't like.
So you think they're pushing the chips forward? You gotta even if that means sacrificing some years of expedited rebuilding process by trading some of those draft picks, you're in favor of maximizing this era right now and what would come with those trade packages. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm just I'm worried that the Lakers are now moving into a direction where they're like, hey, we will take Zachy or whatever the Purdue big man is at
Yeah,
17. Which is fine. We'll take him. We'll draft Bronny. Maybe these guys can contribute. Maybe he could contribute this season. Bronny will not. But that's okay. We're building for the future, right? And the only other rumor this offseason or since last year that has been as loud as the JJ Redick is going to be the head coach of the Lakers is Bronny James is going to be drafted by the Lakers. And I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. In fact, I'm here for the nepotism, to be honest with you. But I just feel like the Lakers' strategy and their decision making, it's like someone's written them down on flashcards, and they're just when it's time for them to read their lines, they're up. So we'll see. I'm also worried that we go all in. Lakers start to make a run. We get to the playoffs, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we're quickly reminded that we have a rookie head coach that's not used to making some of these decisions. But like you said, that's why you got to have the best assistants around. Some of the names that Johan Buha, Shams Charania, and Sam Amick have reported for JJ Redick's coaching staff. First one off the top is former Thunder head coach. Why am I missing my man's name on here?
Terry Stouts was mentioned. Brooks.
Yeah, Scott Brooks. Why am I not seeing this in this article? Anyways, here we got. Yeah. So the names that have been mentioned for the coaching staff. Yep, Scott Brooks, Scott Brooks, Sam Cassell, Jared Dudley, and former Laker Rajon Rondo. All those guys except Rajon Rondo are currently employed on other coaching staffs. Sam Cassell just won a championship with the Boston Celtics. He's due for an upgraded position. I think that'd be a home run hire. Scott Brooks has head coaching experience. It sounds like he is the lead candidate to be his lead assistant. Everybody's kind of like, man, on that. I'm like, where are your other genius options?
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about, this wasn't the strongest head coaching pool. And so if so facto, that means it's probably not the strongest assistant head coaching pool that's available. So Jared Dudley, he's there with the Mavericks. You know, hey, Jared Dud's a cool guy, I guess. He doesn't move me one way or another as far as an assistant coaching position, right? He just got to Dallas, right? And I remember 2 years ago how he was begging that the Lakers needed to give him a roster spot because they needed a veteran mentor like him. And it's like, all right, bro, it sounds like you want to be an assistant coach. So I don't know. Any of these names excite you? Anybody else that you think they should look at? James Borrego talk has significantly cooled down. Sounds like he will end up either in Detroit or in Cleveland. His preference, according to Dave Wilkie, is that Cleveland is his preferred destination because they have a win now roster. Thoughts on the coaching staff that has been reported for JJ Redick?
I mean, I don't need a perfect former head coach to be on the bench with him. So Stouts or Brooks, I'd take. I mean, I do want to have someone on the bench that's done the job. I'd like both of them there, honestly. I mean, look, when they brought in Frank Vogel, who had plenty of coaching experience, they had what? Jason Kidd, Lionel Hollins, and there was somebody else on the. I think there was a third one, if I'm not mistaken. But they had those two that come to mind. Like, there's no salary cap on the coach's roster. Like, spend the money to get both of them. And Rondo's cool. Okay. I like Dudley also. He's a locker room guy. All right, bring him in. Like, the one thing I'd like for them to do is bring in a defensive minded assistant coach. I would like that. I like Cassell, bring Cassell. Like, give him everything that he needs, man, to be successful. Because there's one thing that I know, like, you can't run a sprint and a marathon at the same time. And if that's what they're going to try and do, marathon towards the future, sprint towards another title this year, like, it's not going to work. The Lakers need a bright head coaching staff. They need young legs to get through 82 games because of our stars are older. Like, but I like the names I'm hearing. To me, hopefully we find out within the next week who's going to join his staff. But to your point, like, who do people think he's supposed to go hire? I'd love to hear Mark Jackson's name.
Yeah, you really would love Mark Jackson to get another coaching job, assistant or head coach. You're a big fan of it.
Yeah, I mean, who did the Clippers just hire? Was it Van Gundy? Yeah, they just hired Van Gundy. Like, Jeff. I like stuff like that. Like, these guys, they've got institutional knowledge of the role, and Van Gundy may not want to be a head coach anymore. He might, I don't know. But, like, to me, you know this in business, have as many smart people in the room as you can and identify the leader's weak points and build off of that. We know the Lakers front office has a lot of weak points. There's not a lot of institutional knowledge. Their front office should look more like, Google, but yet somehow it looks more like your local IT shop.
Yeah.
And it's insane. So I would like the coaching roster to just be phenomenal. Like, and if the Lakers do well, some of those guys will get second chances anyway. Cassell probably will finally get a real shot. Stotts might get another job. Like, just the names are fine to me. I think they're fine coaches.
Dan Wokey of the LA Times said the Lakers want to have multiple former head coaches on the coaching staff. And I think that makes all the sense in the world, right? Yeah. Everybody got a soft spot for Doe. Everybody want Rajon on the coaching staff. That comes with some considerations. We won't get into any of the legal considerations around that. I will just point out the fact that Rajon Rondo is not a how should I describe this? He's not a beta personality whatsoever. He is a strong-willed personality. That's how he had all of his success. He was a point guard, the general out there on the court. Was not afraid to butt heads with folks. I say that to say, as this would be one of Rajon Rondo's, this would be his first NBA coaching opportunity and JJ Redick's first NBA coaching opportunity. Do you feel like there would lead to some potential issues where, the players could start gravitating towards Coach Rondo and not as much listening to Coach Redick? Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I could easily see a situation where throughout some frustrations and the turbulence in a rookie head coach season, the greatness of Rajon Rondo starts eking out that, I could probably do a little bit better job than what we're seeing right here.
There were players reportedly that liked Handy more than Darvin this past season.
Come on.
Players are always going to have their favorite coaches. Sometimes it's not the head coach. Most of the time it's not the head coach. It's usually somebody else. The head coach has a huge job, is pulled in a lot of different directions. They end up spending more time with the assistant coaches. I'm not so concerned with the players because I like to think that everybody on the team is an adult. But what I can see is, again, if Redick stumbles and Rondo's on the team, how long before the fan base starts getting really loud about hiring Rondo? There are people that wanted him to be interviewed and hired now. So
them too.
You do have that. I don't know if Rondo's personality will gel with JJ. That's between two grown men. I assume that they'll figure it out if Redick wants to hire him. But I don't know, man. It's just like, give me the two former head coaches. I love it. And then I don't know. I know Rondo would be an assistant, but like, he's not the shooting coach. What is it? Like, what's his job as an assistant? Like, Phil Handy was a skills guy. Like, what would Rondo actually be doing? What would Jared Dudley actually be doing other than just being locker room guys now on the bench? I really don't know. Kobe loved Rondo because Rondo was an asshole. But you know what? Sometimes when you're the guy in charge, you don't feel like hearing nothing from no asshole on your team.
No.
So I don't know how any of this works. I can only hope for the best, man. Like, I can only hope for the best.
I was just asking just a consideration, something to think about, as we try playing. Let's build an assistant coaching staff for what feels like the fourth time in the past 6-7 years, bro. You know what? I'm kind of sick of this being a department that we have to talk about. Like, I don't know. Maybe we were just spoiled thinking back that we had P-Jacks, right? He had us for two different times, but it felt like one complete stretch when you look back on that era of your life. And now here we are, just spinning the wheel and seeing what we get.
You know what's funny about that? Like, you think about it, between West and Phil's first stint, it was the same thing. I mean, we had a lot of guys come and go. We had Dale Harris that could not get Shaq and Kobe over the hump. In comes Phil, 3 rings, 4 finals. Phil walks out the door again, coaching carousel. 2 years later, Phil comes back. They get Powell. Lakers win again. Phil leaves. They flirt with bringing him back for a third time. They pick D'Antoni, and ever since then, again, this carousel. So it feels like it's either the Lakers hire a Hall of Fame, like they get their Hall of Fame coach, or they get a bunch of nobodies. There's no in between. There's no in between.
Well, Frankie Smokes has entered the chat. He said, "What about me?"
My fault. You are right.
What about me?
Vogel was not the Lakers' first pick that year, but I think he was a damn good hire. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'd love him to be on our bench as like the defensive coordinator. He probably wouldn't come back, but like the dude had Phoenix, like what, top 15 in the league in defense. Phoenix, like he's known for deep. Like I don't think it would happen again, but that's who I would love to have on the bench for the defensive side of the ball.
I'm here. I'm here. If Frankie Smokes wants to come back, spin the block as an assistant coach. I got no beef with him. Them big ass veneers. I got no beef whatsoever. Bring Frankie Smokes back. Last note that I thought was interesting, the 2 points, right? And it's got to do with Clutch Sports clients. First is LeBron James. First of all, do you believe that he had zero involvement in the JJ head coaching hire?
No. Even if he didn't specifically go to Rob or you're doing a podcast with him, obviously you like the dude. I mean, so come on. LeBron's a very powerful man. Come on.
Maybe he just told the Lakers, listen to the pod. You'll know how I feel about him. Maybe that was their endorsement. Like, well, it sounds like LeBron likes this guy. We're in the business together. Couldn't be a wrong move, right?
I do think that LeBron might be going to step back so that AD could be at the forefront of the conversation, which is appropriate. That's probably what happened.
And that was going to be question number 2, because it's reported that JJ Redick called Anthony Davis. They had a nice conversation, talked about life, basketball, how JJ left him off of his all defensive team, I'm sure.
Ridiculous.
And mostly how he plans to utilize Anthony Davis and late in games utilize him on both ends of the ball. He also talked about LeBron James playing more off ball, which, since LeBron got to the Lakers and since probably his first season when we kicked the kids out, all that's been talked about is LeBron playing more off ball, LeBron. Let's do it. JJ says he wants to do it, and he's figured out a plan to execute it. Thoughts on Anthony Davis taking the forefront and them connecting, good for the team, obviously. And then about the idea of LeBron playing off ball. Is it ever going to happen in this man's career?
Yeah, AD should be at the forefront. Like, he's a younger superstar. Like, he's still in his prime, although he's older, he's still in his prime. Like, yeah, it should be him. In terms of LeBron playing off ball, I'm cool with LeBron having the ball in crunch time. Cool. But the other 30 minutes of the game, 35 minutes of the game. Like, yeah, man, like if you're not a guard anymore and you're not a wing anymore and you're a power forward, you need to be off ball. He shot better this year again. His 3-point was better. Like, it also helped save his legs a little bit throughout the season. Yeah. But then if you're going to do that, your backcourt cannot be D'Lo and Caruso at the same time. I mean, D'Lo and Austin at the same time.
Wishful thinking.
Like, bring D'Lo back. Like, do not let him walk. But, like, that backcourt overlaps way too much. So, you need a Caruso or KCP type that we used to have that can play some defense. But, yeah, let LeBron play off ball. I'm cool with that. Is he going to actually do it? Probably not.
We'll see. He's got to have faith in whoever is controlling the ball. And it's not like LeBron is anti-playing off ball. He did it in Miami, right? He was cutting the shit out of folks. He did it in Cleveland, backdooring folks all the time. That's who Luka needs to be watching tape of, God damn it. Like how LeBron James played off ball with dominant ball handlers. Like you would think that would be the first, film study that he locks in on. But, he's not blessed with the same athletic ability, the quick twitch muscles, right? Luka hoops in slow motion and he still bodies these dudes. So I ain't trying to tell him to change his thing. I'm just saying, if you want to play off ball, watch how LeBron James did it in his prime, brother. But with that being said, right, LeBron is at this stage in his career, and I'd be a lot more worried if he wasn't shooting as well as he shot from three. That was a career year from three-point land. LeBron James continues to develop and morph into whatever form of basketball player he needs to be. It's just hopefully we have a coach that knows how to utilize these different parts of his game, because he's a chameleon. He'll adapt to whatever. And that the roster is also built in a way that helps utilize that portion of the game. Anthony Davis, A. LeBron James, B. If we can all get together and do that for 4 quarters, I think we can have some success, and we could save LeBron's legs for the end of games. We talked about this a lot. Nothing worse than watching LeBron having to go turbo mode in the first quarter of a game and the Lakers are only up 1.
Hey, bro, in that Denver series, there were some of those in-game possessions I thought should have went to AD and not LeBron. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there were some missed opportunities. And you mentioned LeBron cutting and all that. When you mentioned Luka earlier, that's what I thought of. Like, look at LeBron. Like, I know he's not LeBron. Nobody is. But, like, look at that. But on our team, man, there ain't no Kyrie and there's no Dwayne Wade in their primes. So will LeBron play off ball for Russell or Reeves? There's rumors that they might go after Chris Paul for a backup role. Chris Paul is like 40 now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, you know what, man? I'll shut up after this. There is a chance the Lakers can win a championship this year. Like, it feels like they're close, but they're also far away. And it's like they just need to figure this roster out this year. Yep, they're like they led Denver like 80% of the series, and still like they're so. We'll see, man. He can't be 40 years old, and he knows. Like LeBron knows this. He knows he's not 25-year-old LeBron anymore. But do the Lakers recognize that they cannot put everything on him all the time anymore? Like you can't.
That was my whole point last season. LeBron's doing too much too early in the year. It's exciting. I'm thankful. It's too much. And we'll see. See, the Lakers were rumored to be big name hunting at the beginning towards the off season. We'll see. We haven't heard too much about the Donovan Mitchells, the Trae Youngs, the DeJounte Murrays, even up in Cleveland, Darius Garland, right? So it sounds like Zach LaVine will be traded. However you feel about him, he will. Yeah, there's a big contract that is going to get moved. Utah has floated Lauri Markkanen's name out there. We'll see what they end up doing with that. Kyle Kuzma is another name that's out there. KCP's got to get paid. Who's going to cut the bread for him? Paul George might facilitate a sign-in trade if he can't get the money that he wants in LA. There's enough chess pieces on the board, enough assets on the board for shit to get real interesting real quick. It's just, can the Lakers package these picks, these contracts? What's D'Lo going to decide to do, right? Because you need cooperation with him if you want to have a bigger contract going out. There's all that also contractual hard capping and all that other shit that I don't even need to get into. But the Lakers have some really interesting decisions to make in like the next week and a half. Free agency starts right after. Shit's about to get cranking once again. This is the second season, folks. I hope we all understand what's about to go happen right now. The second season of basketball is about to commence. The NBA draft, then free agency, where all hell breaks loose. It's amazing. Everybody embrace it. We're going to be a part of it. And the Lakers, unlike the last couple of years, actually have draft cap, multiple pieces of draft capital and contracts to flip. Who knows? I'm not saying get excited for something big. I'm just saying if Alex is correct and they're going to go all in, going all in ain't for a rotational backup big. It might be. We need that. But I think the Lakers might have something else that they got in mind to help JJ Redick. Give him the Caleb Williams treatment, right? Go get Keenan Allen. Go sign Swift as your running back. Go draft another wide receiver. Let's get JJ right. Let's just help him. Go get us another star.
Yep.
Fuck it. Let's go back superstar hunting, y'all. I'm excited. I know I was a little doom and gloom a little early in the show, but with the time we're at, end of June, July, about to be lit. So we'll make sure we're tapped in with you guys as these next couple of weeks progress. As we saw, Alex Caruso got traded for Josh Giddey. That's the end of the sentence because there's no other draft capital that got flipped. So the Chicago Bulls continue to just amaze me. With this last minute in the show, I just want to once again thank my family for not forcing me to support that franchise. They have done nothing but just disappoint their fan base year after year after year, whether it's not getting all the way there with the Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah Bulls, or it's just about signing stars well past their prime, the Ben Wallaces, the Dwayne Wades, just anybody, to letting go of superstars in their prime, the Jimmy Butlers of the world. I just thank the Lord every day that I am a Los Angeles Lakers fan. It could be worse, Laker Nation. It could be so much worse. So thank you, Yolanda and Jeffrey Harris. That's it, man. That's all I got for this episode. We'll keep y'all posted. We'll stay locked in for any breaking news or movements going down in Lakerland and the NBA world. We are officially in the off season, folks, but the podcasts are going to keep rolling in. So appreciate y'all for rocking with us on Late Night Lake Show. For Alex, it's Ricky. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.